Pieces start with the star blooms. Excuse me, y'all being so close, okay? All right. Y'all, I bask in the spaces where I get to like enjoy my company, laugh and smile at myself. Um, I try to find these spaces as much as I can, as like often as possible. And lately they're showing up a lot more than they had previously. When you feel like you're in danger, you don't feel safe. When you're operating from survival mode versus surviving to thrive, because there are stages. You don't just jump out of survival mode. There's a lot of reconditioning that has to take place. I call it the surviving to thrive stage, but um, you take things extremely serious because you can't afford to not take things seriously. Lessons have taught you, life has taught you to basically not show up at a certain rate in life. And due to that, a lot of ease, a lot of clutching. That's what happens. It's like you be wound up, being life wound up. A lot of clutching can't be released, you know, because of everything that you for years suppressed over and over and over and over again. Um, and that's what I wanted to talk about. I mentioned in the last live, um, the last clip of the live that I shared was there's a rate that we may find ourselves on our journey that I perceive and have dedicated the space as called like the haze. And give me a second, y'all. Um, my bad, y'all. So I've been doing my best, okay? Not getting on here and not being too emotional. But this came to me from an extremely beautiful place for one of my destiny helpers, energetically. And it's a layer of awareness that I believe that we get to account for, even in understanding the deaths that we go through and releasing those heavy, I call them boxes lately because it's like almost like you picking up boxes. And it's like you don't know um, what's in the box perceived by the weight of it. Mm. You don't know what's in the box perceived by the weight of it that you've been carrying. However, it's been in your possession, and a lot of the times we take ownership of the heaviest things because, in our own way, we account for its presence even in the absence of acknowledgement. In the haze for the etymology of haze, I'm going to say that the verb of haze is I wish I could, like, I would have wrote it down so I could remember it verbatim. The verb version of haze is basically harshness. It is, I want to be, yeah. So, um, the verb of it, okay, is harshness, subjecting someone to like foul horseplay, a harsh or unpleasant work environment. I believe like the noun version of it is like the opaqueness of a space, or and that's really what I wanted to focus on is the opaqueness of a space, hazy, blurriness, um, not being able to fully see, right? So, what I recognize when we allow ourselves to receive the gift, okay, of past, and we cherish the spaces that we may have previously deemed unfavorable and unforgivable, all right? We recognize the rates of ourselves that we get to untangle and unravel in retrieval versus retreat. What do I mean by this? Dealing with layers of SA, there are so many spaces where you could see why it would be very, very easy to fall victim in these spaces that we didn't previously contribute to. Okay. And why do I say that we didn't previously contribute to? I recognize that per me becoming aware, because I wasn't always aware of what happened. A lot of the things that occurred to me were so traumatic that even the memory of said things were fragmented and placed in me in a way to where I could grasp on these pieces, but I wasn't able to fully withhold the truth of what occurred in these spaces until extreme events happened in my life. I had um, people who transitioned that were extremely close to me, um, my children, um, not necessarily fully making it into full, gestation, however you say that, like my baby's transitioning. That was like a soul shift for me, And when that occurred, I recognized that a lot of the things that I previously wasn't able to fully perceive were because there were some extremely hurtful things that occurred, and my body protected me in these spaces. What I noticed as I've basically started healing, started cultivating healing um, channels for myself, and also sharing the channels that I perceived and actually created and cultivated with my spirit team, with my clients, and helping them create and cultivate their own. I recognize that there's this space, and it's like it's an opaque. All right, it's the haze. It's this hazy space that you may find yourself to be in. The original forgiveness, a lot of the times when we go into places that we did not believe that we get to forgive, because we don't recognize how selfish forgiveness is, and we don't want to take um, the justice away from the circumstance by putting too much love and light on certain energies, because we believe that there should be balance in a lot of the things that have occurred to a lot of us, especially chosen beings. Um, there will be recompense. Even if we allowed ourselves for so long to sit in the space of wanting revenge, we recognize the release and surrender actually allows the justice to come into play. All right. So, long story short, the haze itself is this space where you may find yourself to be obscuring your vision in a rate of not being able to fully encompass the sight of what transpired. This could be in a rate in sometimes in places where you may believe that you know all that you need to know, when you are taking on and having the beautiful cultivation of the relationship with your inner child, when you're now responsible for that little you, and you're loving yourself and you're parenting yourself and you're just holding yourself and nurturing yourself, reconditioning yourself, creating these new constructions that live within you, you have to really, really allow yourself to, you can. We do not need to be ever forcing or saying things like have to. We've always been at this rate of being forced into deciding based off of a hive mentality. If this sounds beneficial to you and you recognize that you previously were at a rate with certain things that you wanted to heal, but you recognize that there's a piece or there's still a lot of depth there that you know that you've only reached the surface with, this is something that you could place in your little toolbox to be able to carry with you. The haze is something that you may be in. The haze is you choosing to obscure your vision because the truth pains you. The idea of the truth pains you. We do not have to be pained by the truth or victimized by our circumstances. We don't have to be victor over events either, okay?